All right. The next question we have, kind of moving on to mods and Zeta a bit more. For lower level players, this is also Roran, by the way. Where would you recommend placing that first Zeta? So you finally got all the Zetas farmed, and you've got, a lot of people are going to be deciding between a Maul or a Kylo or maybe a Qui-Gon Jinn. What would you say if I'm just now getting there? My whole arena shard is just now getting there as well with me. We're all starting to see the Zeta. Where should I place that first?
Opinion on that right now, in this current kind of like time, I would say Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren can be moved from one squad to another. A Zeta Maul lead cannot. And I know a lot of people are going after that Zeta Maul. He's one of those characters that may help now, but he may not be viable in a month's time. So, I can imagine for a free-to-play side of things, especially when you get in those kind of like ships, characters, and you have to gear them as well. And it's extremely difficult. And the one thing you don't want to be doing is dropping in an arena rank, because that's pretty much what you're living on to play the game. The less income you get in, the slower your progression is going to be overall. Kylo Ren, because he can be the difference that you're going to win on the offense. When he's hitting and restoring his health for like 30, 40k, you cannot argue with a character like that. And that's just one character in your team. It doesn't limit you then to do what you need to do. You could even then go for the Rex lead. You could choose what you want. And Kylo Ren's kind of one of them characters that Episode 8 comes out this year. So he's going to have some synergy with either the Knights of Ren or even anything come, that time with new First Order characters. So I'd say he's the safest bet to do first.
Right on. Yeah, Kylo Ren, definitely. That Zeta ability can be pretty tough. And like you said before, he can literally go 1-on-5.
I would, that would be my advice. If this was the start of the Maul meta, then it would be Maul. But the one way that staying ahead of kind of the meta is having characters you can bring over to the new meta, and Kylo Ren is one of them. You can bring him over. Same with Nihilus as well. Nihilus is going to be one of those characters that you can move over to the next meta. That he's not a character, nor is Kylo Ren, that is reliant on a Zeta Maul. They can still go into other teams. Once you Zeta your Maul, you're locked to that Maul lead. So if a meta does change, if anything changes in the game, you've got a character that's essentially useless to you now. If we look into detail on what Maul is, where does he fit in any raid in the game? He doesn't. If Vader wasn't good in the Rancor, he would still be the same. You'd be sitting on your bench. You wouldn't really be using him. It's only because he's got his uses at other places that he's still viable, where Maul isn't viable anywhere else. Yeah, you could use him in Galactic War, but you could use Kylo Ren in Galactic War. You could use Kylo Ren in the AAT. You could solo come in and out of the AAT and completely get rid of Phase 1. You could use him in Phase 2 Retreat. You could use him in Phase 3. And you could use him in Phase 4. That's what I do with my Kylo Ren. My Kylo Ren is the one character in the AAT that I use in all my phases. And I still have him till the end. Put him into another squad. Retreat, put him into another squad. And that's the one character, and that's where the profit, where you're going to be really being seeing the value, because the AAT's there. A Zeta Maul isn't really going to do anything in the AAT. Not like you used to, that they can't dodge. So once those turns are down and you get that enrage, that's it. Your Maul's dead. He's gone. Kylo Ren can escape from that, and he's just going to be resetting his cooldowns throughout the entire kind of like match. And you can use him anywhere in the game. He's a pilot as well. Maul's a pilot, but you don't need to have a Zeta on him to make him viable as a pilot. His ship is pretty much one of the best ships in the game, but you don't need to have a Zeta for that to work. You don't need a Zeta on Kylo either. But the kind of end of it is Kylo's universal. You're going to be able to use him in other areas, and that's what I would look at, especially when you're expanding. Don't lock yourself to one team if you don't have to.
Awesome, thank you. I think that's great advice. That makes me actually want to put a Zeta on my Kylo Ren, and I've already got 2, almost 3. So.
Sure, he's amazing. I've got a Zeta Savage, and I'd rather put Kylo Ren in than Savage.
Awesome.
All day long.
So Keen is wondering, when modding your tunes, a lot of us have this dilemma, and I'm sure you're familiar with it, between a critical damage stat or a critical chance stat, especially on that triangle mod that you throw up there. A lot of times you're going to be sacrificing that high critical chance stat to get the damage, or vice versa. which would you lean towards? What do you think is more valuable?
If you are wanting to mod, say, Kylo Ren, a Vader, then you want to be having that triangle critical chance because they don't need it, because they build their own kind of attack. Characters that you want to get more out, for example, I'd probably go with Anakin Skywalker, that I'd probably put the critical damage on him just so he can do a little bit more damage. But there is no huge right and wrong between them, as long as you're at least getting 186% or 180. And that's what I do with a lot of my characters. Boba Fett's the same. I wouldn't go for a 216% on Boba Fett. I'd go for that critical chance triangle, and that's how I would normally determine, because his execute builds up its own damage. If I need to give a character a damage boost, then I'll go with the triangle and look for secondaries critical chance. But a 30% critical chance on a character or a 40%, you really want to be aiming for at least 50. And if that means that you're going to have to drop the critical damage triangle and put a critical chance triangle, I would do it all day long, because there's no point having your character souped up with critical damage to 216% if his critical chance is like 30%, because that means that you're only benefiting from it when it actually crits. So it's kind of like a pointless feat. You need to make sure that you're getting your kind of worth out of it, and you need to have at least 50%, 116 critical damage.
Right on. Awesome. Now, do you think that one of the metas that we've shifted away from is the Rebels, to a point? Obviously, Chase is not going to fall into that category, but I'm talking the Lando lead with the Wigs. Do you think that some of those classic Rebels, Stormtrooper Han, Wig, Lando, for example, do you think any of them will ever get a Zeta ability? Do you think that could be maybe one of the next meta shifts, or do you think they're going to stay as is? And this is from Saxatoni, by the way.
I think it's possible. It may not be till next year. It could be whenever they decide to put a Zeta run on. But yeah, I believe if a Zeta's put onto some Rebel characters, it's probably going to make them either immune to critical immunity, because that's pretty much what stops them, like a Maul lead, General Kenobi. And that's probably what their huge weakness is at the moment, is when you've got that crit immunity on a character after you've tried to just do a triple hit, and then the rest of the hits just pretty much just hit for what their basic is, and it's not very high. But yeah, I would say that it's possible. I would guess we've got a lot of Rebels, and we may see more Rebels if they brought out Luke Skywalker or any reworks to current Rebels with Zetas ever. But yeah, it's a safe bet. Keep hold of them, still gear them up if you've got them, because they are pilots at the end of the day. Your fleet, because again, he's another one that's probably one of the best ships in the fleet as well, is Biggs.